All right, well, welcome to the shop, everyone. All right, on today's engine stand, run-in stand, engine test stand build, where we're changing this old engine build stand, into a run-in stand where it can kind of do both jobs. I think the last I left off was, we fabricated these. I think the idea also was to leave one side flat all the way down to where, when it's not in use or not being used, it could be hung on a wall somewhere where it wouldn't, take up much space, might stick out a little bit, but go up against the wall. So I think today's video, we're gonna maybe fabricate something to hold the radiator up. Maybe have it where it can slide up and down. We have those down there that can move in and out. So anyways, that's what we're gonna concentrate on, is fabbing up something to mount that radiator to those bars down there. All right, so I took some 2x2 square tubing that I had, and I went ahead and split it in half. And you got that like little gully in there, so that'll sit in there nice. I'll probably put some kind of rubber grommets there or something like that, and that'll sit on the top and also go on the bottom as well. And then on the side for it sliding up and down, these other things I made, like that one there and that one there, you can just loosen them up and slide them, and they don't have a bolt running in the side and marring up the side every time you use it. So I kind of like that idea. And so that's basically what I'm going to do here. Is I took some more of that 2x2 square tubing I had, and I cut it down, split it. I'll TIG weld that together, and then I'll probably have some kind of a bolt that go there and there, and as you tighten it up, it squeeze on it, and that way you have some adjustability up and down. But because of the water neck here, you can't really go straight over the top or forward that far. So probably gonna make some kind of a flat piece of steel that comes out and goes over. And then this tray right here, I got another friend who has a engine shop, and he's got a run-in stand, and I always notice this little trough here, or a trough like this, might just be the top of the radiator. But anyways, I always see like nuts and bolts and wrenches in there, so I probably thinking that might be a good thing to have somewhere, a tray to lay a few things as you're running stuff in. So anyways, I'm gonna cut something out of some cardboard or something, try a few little things, and see if I can come up with something I can cut out on that plasma cutter. All right, so out of a little piece of cardboard, I cut a little angle bracket. Probably weld onto there, and that'll go to the top. And I can probably cut out 4 of these. That way they could go on every corner. And also, it's sitting back some. We'll still leave it flush. And then we always have those bottom bars that go out and in, so we can still move it. So anyways, that's what I've decided I'm gonna go with, and let's get to it. All right, so we've cut out 4 of these brackets, and I went ahead and welded some nuts on the inside of the the bracket goes on top of the radiator there, support. And then so these metal brackets here probably weld onto there, so the holes and everything. And I'll probably end up doing some kind of a gusset from here up to it. All right, so I guess the next thing I'm gonna do is probably take these off, take them together a little bit, and get some more of this fabrication done. everything's all welded up. Welded those up. I went ahead and got some bolts. Go ahead and TIG the nuts on the back side. Clamps down on the pole good. As far as these braces that'll go across the radiator, went ahead and went to Ace and got these sticky things. Let's see what it is. Self-adhesive anti-skid pads that I'm gonna put on the bottom side, both sides of it. That will sit down in there in the radiator and hold it in place. Also, I probably, I probably can do some kind of a gusset here. But also, if you think about it, the weight of the radiator, this won't hold anything as far as the weight of it. All it does is holds it in place. So it's just going to be the bottom one that actually holds the weight of the radiator. And so what I'm going to do, these rods right here, I'm going to weld one on the bottom, one on the top. That way it connects both of them to help, this will hold the weight and the bottom one, so like double the strength of it. Don't know if it needs it. I'm just going to do it. Alright, so the measurement between here and here for the engine stand over there is right at 25. And then with those side pieces, that we made that are going to clamp it in place. So I figure around 25 and a quarter, 25 and a quarter is what I'm going to want. So on this piece here, to get center, to get it, the correct distance between each other, I just marked the center. I don't know if you can see that, center of the piece between here and there. Then I'll just clamp that on and measure out the distance of about 12 5/8. Put you on the tripod right quick and go ahead and do that. Alright, so have the, I guess what I'll call the radiator support kind of all fabbed out. Got where you can loosen these up, maybe raise it up, lower it. Don't know if that's going to be real necessary or not. Alright. The reason I added that in this gusset here, or anyways, the bracing, is really all the weight was just going to be on that little flat piece of steel. So I thought, well, if I join them and then put a brace in there, that makes it a lot more stable. Need to tighten it up apparently. So anyways, I got these rubber pads from Ace Hardware and have them on the top and bottom, kind of sandwich and kind of hold the radiator there. So anyways, let's install it and see how it goes. Alright, so there we have it. It's installed in there. It seems to be fairly tight. Kind of offset it. It's kind of wanting where I could hang it on a wall when I'm not using it. And so probably down here I'll fab in the fuel cell, and then kind of made that back that way where I could put the cap on there, a few things like that. Alright, so the next thing on the list is to try to get this little fuel cell mounted down here somewhere. Like I said, I want to keep it back a little bit as well. So if I hang it on the wall, it'd be this side, then all this stuff would stick out. But sort of a flat surface. Anyways, so somewhere around there, I guess, is what I'm gonna do. Some kind of a bar that goes across, and you got these back tabs. Go back there, bend something up, weld it on there, and get that mounted. All right, go to the next thing. All right, so we got the fuel cell, I guess bracket or frame, kind of fabbed up. Got a plate there. Went ahead and mounted the fuel pump that side. And what I wanted to do, since you know these sliders that slide in and out of the engine stand itself, I don't know how straight and parallel they always are as they come out, and so I wanted to build some kind of a framing that wasn't real rigid, to where I would be able to move these things in and out a little bit if need be to fit, say if it slides further out, further in, where we don't get no binding. So anyways, this right here seems to be able to put up with a little bit of movement, and when it's all bolted together, it's really pretty sturdy. And so the fuel cell will go on there like that. Fuel pump off to one side. I did tilt it a little bit forward to make it easier for like pouring gas in there. The radiator's moved back a little bit to where you'll be able to pour in there all right. Still left the surface pretty flat where we'll be able to hang it on the wall. So probably come out of there, go to the fuel pump, and then fuel pump somehow maybe run the line up here or something, go over to the engine. All right, so the next thing I want to start thinking about is the cluster, or where you have the tach, the oil temperature, oil pressure, water temperature, and all those things. Somewhere over here, because the carburetor will be right there, and I'll work the throttle as I try to start it. And so I don't know if I want it facing this way towards me. Just have to think about that a little bit. And over here, I have all the gauges and everything that I'll be using. Thinking about making, I don't know, the dash or whatever you want to call it out of that checker plate. Here's the gauges that I need to mount in it. Starter panel, tach, the main switch. Got a solenoid if you need it. So anyways, I'm gonna start thinking on that a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and mount the fuel cell and the fuel pump onto that plate I just made. Alright, so I took some of this 1.5 by 2.5, and I went ahead and split it with the plasma cutter, and made me a frame, I guess you'd say, for the little dashboard. I used that checker plate for the dash, so I got the start, ignition on, maybe the fan accessory switches, got all that stuff hooked up, got our gauges on there, have the tach set up there. I don't have everything wired in yet, but I hung it on the side of this motor here. Now this right here, even though I have it tilted back, will come off. This actually lifts up, comes off, and I'll probably have some kind of a screw or something that goes in there and locks it down. So that'll be the start button. And then down here is where I'll plug the battery in, or whatever, the car or whatever I'm using to power everything. This is where I'll plug in. It'll run there, run to the main on and off switch. I got some fuse box where I'll fuse like the fan for the radiator, the fuel pump, whatever other little things. I think I got the starter solenoid down there, and I have it exposed for one thing where I can jump it out. So say I wanted to run the lash on the motor, you know, I bought this little trick handle that you could hit it so I could have the ignition switch off and I can still bump the motor around and run the lash on the engine with that. Then also, you know, when you start up a new motor, you're always wanting to set the timing, and so I made these couple lugs here that stick out that will have 12 volts on them to run your timing light, so you can set the timing while it's sitting there running, have an easy access to it down there. I'll probably make some kind of a holster for it, you know, where it might slide in there, slide on there, I'm not sure. So anyways, so there's the dash, I guess you call it, some of the electronics. I don't know, I went ahead and bought some relays for it, for the higher amperage instead of going through the switch. Don't know if I'm gonna sync or source it yet. I have to think that a little bit. It might not even matter on something like this. But anyhow, that's kind of where we're at with this thing. And probably gonna start doing some of the wiring. So I bought this jumper cable and I'm gonna cut it up, and that's what I'm gonna use to come out here, probably go through the plate, go through the main on and off switch, power this, probably come out to the solenoid, go back in, run out over to the starter, which will be on the other side, and then start wiring up the I imagine one of these would be for like the electric fan, one will be for like the fuel pump on. That'll probably be like the arm, the ignition for the engine, and then the start switch. So we'll start working on that. Well, we got it all wired up. Got the dash all wired up. Got a lock on there to lock it. Got it braced up. Got all the wiring done. So I got the Street Fire MSD all wired up to the engine. Got all the wiring done here, the fuses, the relays, and all that stuff. And that right there is for like the timing light. Lugs to get some power. I got it plugged into the little forklift over here. So all the lines out, got the fan, got everything installed. Let's see, turn on the main switch. And a little green light slide up. So this one right here is the fuel pump. That one there is the fan. And that one there arms the ignition. And that one there is your start. So everything's hooked up, everything's wired up, getting real close to firing this thing up. Got everything looking good. Got the fuel line all hooked up, fuel filter. Have to go get some gas. So anyways, getting real close to firing this thing up. Maybe next video we'll have it running. But this will conclude the engine test stand build, or engine run-in stand build, and it'll convert back easily to just the engine build stand. Everything seems to work out good that way. All right, well, appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you on the next video.